All right, everyone. So we're going to go ahead and get started. All right. So I would like to welcome everyone to our NS8 PrestaShop live demo, where we're going to give you a firsthand glimpse of our comprehensive fraud platform. I would like to first start off introducing our team at members at NS8. Jonathan Mucha, who's our solutions consultant, and he's going to be conducting the live demo and giving you a complete overview into our platform. Myself, Kenneth Cruz, Director of Alliances for Platforms. And last but not least, Vanessa Cafarina, our Alliance Manager and the person who helped put this live webinar together with the help of Patrick, our Director of Marketing, Partner Marketing, and Lucy from the PrestaShop team. So thank you, guys. Thanks to everyone for collaborative efforts. Today's webinar slash demo and a demo that Jonathan's going to be conducting is going to be a brief introduction overview of NS8, our NS8's end-to-end fraud platform. So you'll get a better understanding of how advanced our data analytics with real-time scoring seamlessly integrates within PrestaShop. And most importantly, you agencies, web developers, webmasters that are on the call that are attending today, you'll better get a better understanding as far as the added value prop that NS8 brings to you, to your current service offerings, especially in these times. As you know, COVID-19 has disrupted the traditional way of doing business, and business owners have reacted, they're reacting to these change. A lot of them really don't know what to do, and being reactful, they're actually being forced to adapt new technologies and evolve. And it just seems that in this time, things are moving so fast at a fast pace that they're looking to new ways and being forced to adapt to the changing environment so they can reach out to these consumers. We're seeing a huge shift globally from these brick and mortar operations. You know, the business owners of, you know, your traditional side of businesses, and they're selling from their retail stores. They're having to shift online to sell their physical products or services, and having to use a PrestaShop site and build a PrestaShop site. Many of these owners are having challenges to really understand on how to promote, present their products, deliver their products, or even accept payments. And a good percentage of these merchants, to the part of that have the big part of the shift, are unfamiliar to the risk that's involved of the card not present space, the online space. And a lot of it stems from the simple fact that they're used to the traditional way of doing business and being able to identify and see the physical end consumer making the purchase. So when they go online, it's difficult for them to really understand, and sometimes impossible to them to accurately identify the person and who's making the purchase and how they're making the purchase and where they're making the purchase. So this is one of many scenarios where NS8 comes into play. We partnered up with major key platforms all around the world, such as PrestaShop, to provide a seamless experience, to be able to integrate in their platform, pre-installed natively, to help identify and flag potential fraud before it even occurs. NS8 provides merchants, regardless of their industry types, the different types of products they sell, their customer base, or where they're located, their geographic location. NS8, we're able to provide this insight to protect against these fraudulent activities. Most of the existing solutions or plugins, in the PrestaShop marketplace, a lot of them provide a fraud solution, but what happens is, in result of not all plugins, but a lot of these technologies, they miss a lot of fraudulent activities or false positive, and block legitimate customers from making the purchase, which, that's something that Jonathan, our solutions consultant that's going to conduct the demo, he can definitely into and provide you an overview on that. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into our platform so everyone can get a visual and a better understanding on how robust NS8 and our platform really is. But just keep in mind, before we go ahead and do the demo, Jonathan, we'll make sure at the very end of the demo, we'll make sure to open the floor for any questions and then really discuss the different agency programs that we have.
Excellent. All right. So thank you all for joining me. let's get a little, can everybody see the screen okay? Kenneth, can you see this? Everything's working? Excellent, excellent. So here we have our dashboard for NS8. And this dashboard is designed to give a high level overview of what your clients will be monitoring on a day-to-day basis, right? So the first thing to know about what we do at NS8 is that we're not just concerned with order fraud, but we're concerned with protecting your clients in three distinct ways. So the first is going to be performance monitoring and reputation monitoring for your clients for your clients' sites to make sure that they're not on any block lists, their SSL certificates or their TSL certificates, or I'm sorry, TLS certificates are valid or not in danger of being revoked. And that they're not associated with spam, that their load times are fast enough to give a high quality user experience. So that's the first thing that we're working on, and that's going to help lower bounce rates, right? When a client or a potential customer might go to one of your clients' sites, and it takes too long to load, they're just going to go somewhere else, and we of course want to help everybody avoid that. The second thing that we do is because when NS8 is running on a client's store, we have a monitoring script that is tracking every single session that comes to that client's website. And with that script, we're monitoring 170 different attributes about that individual session's behavior. Things like how the mouse is moving, where is that device? Is it a laptop? Is a mobile device? If it is a mobile device, is it rotating or moving in 3 dimensions? So you have access to a very high level of detail of information about each individual session, which allows us to compute a risk score. And that's, of course, what we're displaying in this card here. And with that risk score, we're able to monitor not just order fraud, or monitor for not just order fraud, but also for advertising fraud. So with that tracking that we're doing, we can help your clients extend the use of their advertising budget by eliminating bad traffic from specifically their retargeted marketing campaigns, but also helping them to identify any fraudulent traffic that might be being driven by a particular campaign. So we're going to look into that in just a minute. And of course, we want to finish off by saying we're also going to alert any potential order fraud that might come up here. And the interesting thing about what we're doing here is because we have information that goes from the beginning, from the initial moment the session started, that led up to an order. We have all that information, each page view and how the mouse was moving on every page and which links they clicked on. We're able to combine the order detailed information with that session's detailed information and get a much more comprehensive overview of how that user has been behaving and the likelihood that that is a fraudulent or a non-fraudulent order. So we get a very in-depth view of that and can be very accurate with our recommendations. So that's what we're seeing across the top here. So we've got this risk score. It's very much like a credit score. It's high is good and low is bad, and it varies between 0 and 1,000. And so above 600 is typically a real human user, and below 200 is typically a bot user. And in that 200 to 600 range, sort of middle range there, we're going to give our clients as many tools as possible and as much information as possible up front to help them decide whether those orders there need to be canceled or approved, or whether they were high quality or low quality. So if we look here at the next row of the dashboard, we've got information on how the campaigns have been performing and any orders that have been flagged for potential review. And so we'll start by talking about advertising. What we're doing here, like I said, we're tracking each individual session, and we keep track of these advertising campaigns the same way that Google Analytics does. So our script just monitors each individual session, like I said, and with that information, we're collecting information on each campaign, and we're able to aggregate the scores for those campaigns and display them here we're going to show over the past 24 hours. We can get some more details on the next page. So this is how traffic has been driven to our site on hosted on PrestaShop over the past 24 hours, right? As far as advertising goes, and we can see that out of 1,000, right, the score goes up to 1,000. These campaigns are not performing very well. So maybe somebody wants to talk to our advertising agency about that. If we go down to the next row, like I was saying earlier, where we can really start to add value for our customers and your customers is going to be when they start incorporating their results that they get from NS8 with their retargeting campaigns. So if a client could integrate their Google Analytics account and their Google Ads account with their NS8 account, we will add a custom dimension to their analytics. That is, should they consider a particular session as being available for being remarketed to or retargeted, and the way that this session is determined is based on a threshold for this equate score here. And so what we can do then is to help the client filter out any robotic traffic from their retargeting campaigns. And so that way you're not spending, or the client's not spending money trying to retarget any advertising to bots in the future, right? So if we come up to ad protection here, we can see a little bit more detail about the campaigns. And what we've got here is going to be a breakdown of each individual campaign. And then, of course, we can change the date range here and see how they've been doing. You can see something has really changed here in the past couple of days. But we can look to see how each one of these campaigns are performing, and all of them here are performing very poorly. And so we can have a conversation with our advertising agency about, hey, maybe this needs to be adjusted. How can we help filter out some of these bots, change up our campaign in a way that makes this a little bit more lucrative. Also, you can use this as a testing grounds to use that qualitative data that we're delivering using the equate score to improve your advertising and test that here on this page, where you can say, okay, now I'm going to change this trade show ad campaign that I've got right here. I'm going to change my targeted audience. I'm going to come back in a day and I'm going to see where did this number go? Did it go up? Did it go down? And if it goes up, you could invest a little bit more in that, and play around here and use this level of information that we're able to deliver to make better decisions about how you're going about advertising. Now, the other interesting thing here is that if I don't know if any of you noticed, but back on the dashboard, this is updating in real time. So you'll see this flash as a session comes through the site. So the one other piece of value here is that as soon as a campaign starts, as soon as traffic is being driven to a site, we're monitoring that traffic, scoring that traffic, and delivering information to the user about that traffic to say, this is doing well or this is not doing so well. So from advertising fraud, we have seen a correlation between high levels of advertising fraud and high levels of order fraud, and that has to do with how bots work. So when we help eliminate that bot traffic on the front end at the top of that sales funnel, we can have an impact on the number of fraudulent orders that a client would be receiving at the bottom of that funnel. So let's have a look here at how we can analyze these orders. So of course, we're going to display these orders for each for the client for the past 24 hours, or 7 days. So we're displaying these out here, and the client could click on them, cancel them right from here. once they've gotten familiar with the platform and have information about a particular order. More often than not, people on the staff are going to be reviewing individual orders from this suspicious orders page. And so we'll come into this page and we'll see each order that's come that requires us to take some action on it. Now we can automate the reviewing of these orders just so that we don't have to review each one individually, which for larger clients is obviously going to be unfeasible. But we'll review one manually, and then we'll talk about how we go about reviewing that, automating that process afterwards with order rules here. So in this table, we're going to show what the risk score level was, price. Was there a risk factor associated with this session? So this is some of that information that we're collecting about each individual session, right? That we're displaying here to say, yeah, with this session, this was a known bot. We know it was a bot. This one had a spoofed user agent. We know these things. And so we're displaying them so that the client can say, okay, I don't think that this was actually a human who's placed these orders. The other and very important thing to look at here is going to be payment risk score. So we have access to a lot of data where we can calculate how likely it is that the payment that was used for this purchase is going to result in a chargeback. So we were 99%, 96, 75, 89. We're able to say to the merchant, there's an 89% chance that your sale is going to result in a chargeback here. And so you should feel very confident in canceling this order. You don't want the risk of having that chargeback. Similarly, 99. And when you see things that are less than 1% likely to have a chargeback, you can feel very confident in approving that order. So let's take a look at one of these orders and see just what's going on inside. So here we're displaying, we have the recommendation that the merchant cancels this order. It's got a lot of factors that have driven the risk score all the way to 0. Including this spoofed user agent, which means that when we query the machine, the device that was placing the order and said, tell me what operating system and browser configuration you're using, it gave us back a string of information that didn't match what we actually get from the hardware. So the browser tells us, yeah, I'm running Firefox on a Windows machine, but then when we ask the actual machine, it says, no, I'm on a Macintosh. So that's just that's what this spoofed user agent means. And then of course we've got information about this payment risk, right? Greater than 50% chance. So this was 89% on the previous page, if you remember. So we've got some real issues with this payment here. So the email, this is more of just a monitor sort of notification, doesn't really affect the score. The distance from the shipping address to the device, this is an important fraud signal that it's just not common for people to be all that far away from their billing or shipping addresses when they're placing orders. And of course, then also they're using an anonymous proxy. So something like a VPN here. We're also going to, excuse me, we're also going to display for the merchant when they're reviewing here, where was this actually, where was the billing address, where was the shipping address, where was the device? So we've got these available to see here in a map, and we can see the device was in Virginia, and the billing and shipping address were here in wherever this was, North Michelle. And the only page navigation that ever existed was only on the home page. So this is very, very odd and not something you would expect to see. So what you expect to see in this navigation section is a customer journey. They came to the site, they browsed around, they looked at a product, they read a blog article, they put the product in the cart, and then they checked out. When you don't see that, it should raise some serious suspicion. And so we're presenting all this information for the merchant to be able to say, okay, yes, this is a very suspicious order, and I should go ahead and cancel it. And then, of course, down below the fold here, we've got user details, so about this customer, or how long have they been a customer, how many orders have they placed, and what has happened in the past 30 days. This information we are able to collect from their machine, right? So where did they come in? What kind of machine were they using? And what language and configuration was it in? So in the event that this customer had been an existing customer before, and they now have an order that's been flagged as potentially fraudulent, where we would see down here that they've placed several orders in the past and that we had approved them, we could come up and we could say, instead of approving or canceling this order, we're actually going to verify it using an SMS system. So this provides two-factor authentication that can help drive fraudulent orders down precipitously. So what happens is standard two-factor authentication, right? So the customer gets an email, they're asked if they actually placed the order, if they want to cancel the order. They're redirected back to whatever the merchant's site is when they click yes or no inside of that email. And then they have to add their telephone number and get a one-time password sent to them where they can input that into the merchant's site. And then NS8 captures that information, that telephone number, and that they had verified, and displays it for the merchant to be able to say, yes, this customer went through, verified the order, and does want to complete this order. And so this can really drive down fraudulent orders, because a lot of the times when these orders are being placed with stolen credit cards, they're all being done automatically with scripts and bots, and that act of asking for the password to be entered in, most of the time the fraudster is not providing a real email address, or is certainly not going to provide a real telephone number for that authentication. So we have seen this drive down fraud a lot. So this would be manual review of an order. Of course, we want to automate that as much as possible because everybody's busy. And in order to do that, we're going to use order rules. So we have a set of rules that we typically work through with each client to see how they would fit as suggestions to start. But because each merchant has such a unique workflow and a unique business model, we typically take care of that collaboratively a little after they've installed the platform or turned the platform on. So once they have some data coming through and we're able to analyze, and the merchant's able to get a feel for the platform, we'll have a follow-up call with them to say, tell me about your workflow. Are there any things you'd like to automate? How would you like to do that? And so this is one of the parts of that where we'll come into order rules and say, okay, let's talk about the orders that you automatically want to approve, right? So maybe you want to create a positive list where you have customers that you're always going to approve because they're good customers. We're going to work that in here, and we can do that based on email, IP address, however the merchant would like to do it. And then, do we have some situations where perhaps a particular city is a problem, or perhaps from one particular email address, you always want to send an SMS because it's just a little bit suspicious. So we can add these rules in here to help automate that workflow as much as possible. So I'm going to head back to the dashboard now and just discuss the final thing that we're doing in just very briefly is performance monitoring. I know I touched on it at the beginning, but I could demonstrate here what the actual tests we're running are, right? So we are checking the certificate. Like I said, it's turned off for this one because we don't have one for our demo store. Checking for block lists, checking that performance to make sure the site's loading on time. Want to make sure that you're not associated with malware according to Google, and then we also can check each merchant's websites for particular words that we know should be on that site, right? So the merchant comes and can adjust this in the settings here, but if, for instance, they're selling coffee related things, right? If they're a coffee roasting company, we're going to expect to see the word coffee. We're going to expect to see the word bean. We're going to ping this website and look for those words, and we don't find them, we'll send an alert. So we'll send alerts if any of these monitors are tripped, and that can all be customized inside of the context here. Who gets an alert and when is all customized there. So that is our brief overview of NS8. I hope that you all have some questions, because I'd love to answer them. I do know that Kenneth wants to have a little bit more input on as far as the Alliances and Partners program goes. So I'm going to hand it back over to you, Kenneth.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Jonathan.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and reshare my screen. So just to dive in, as far as the different options that we offer agencies, webmasters, web developers, just because we know PrestaShop is, it's open source. So there's a huge community backing to the platform. So we've been seeing a lot of traction, a lot of organic merchants going into the marketplace and downloading our integration and starting the free trial. And then we're also pre-installed in the back office of PrestaShop. So we're seeing a lot of free trials coming in organically and merchants that are going from the free to the paid. So roughly it's usually like around 200 to 300 new accounts every single month. So we know that the opportunity and the need is there. And it's always great to bring in webmasters, web developers, and agencies and build some program that we can work together. Now, we all know that there's agencies that, you know, some of you guys have specialties as far as customizations, migrations, and don't really get into the SEO side of things. But this is an added value prop that you can add to your existing services. So you can implement it in projects or your existing projects. But notice it's fully scalable, like Jonathan was saying. Small, medium-sized business, which is working within the PrestaShop community, all the way to the large enterprise. Now you'll start seeing that there's a lot of bells and whistles that's super, as far as the order rules and the features and functionalities, even the extensions aspect of it. It would be difficult for a small merchant to use, but as you get into the larger accounts, we have the capability, because it's fully scalable, to provide those additional bells and whistles that these are functionalities that large enterprise clients are looking for. Creating these order rules, and it's and that's something that you can customize based on your business need. So, and even the whole ad fraud thing, even though if your agency doesn't provide any kind of SEO or any kind of ad campaigns, that'll give you the opportunity to possibly add that service, and just rest assured that NS8 will take care of it, and you can dip and dab into that vertical by offering the fraud, the ad fraud, as far as redirection, ad fraud campaigns and things like that. That's all built into the program. So we wanted to make sure that we have an agency program that we can provide. So we work directly with the agencies and the referrals in the book of business that they bring our way. I'm not sure if Vanessa, you want to touch base a little bit on this, or?
Hi there. Yeah, absolutely. So when joining the NS8 Partner Program, we can work together to drive innovation and prevent our clients from any fraudulent activity on the advertising level and also the transactional level. With us in our partner program, we can give you a direct link to track your referral clients. We also have a whole marketing and sales team to provide you tools and assets so you can disseminate those across your client base. Also, there is no fee to join our partner program and free to create an account on our partner portal as well. And another great point that I'd like to stress is that we provide technical support. So that means that you can direct your clients or your merchants to our teams, and we can respond to any questions or technical questions via email or phone as well.
So typically when it comes to the implementation, especially when it comes to the order rules, we order that white glove, and we have that white glove service. So solutions consultants such as Jonathan can assist you guys or your developers and your team are setting up these specific order rules and training your team on how to identify and maneuver through the platform itself. And a lot of the questions that we do have as far as when it comes to the payment side, what payment gateway do you recommend? What do you we're completely outside of that realm. So we're actually working before the point of the checkout. So you have the flexibility to use any payment gateway or provider of choice.
Concludes today's webinar. I hope we were able to answer any of the questions that you may have regarding our NS8 Protect platform within PrestaShop. If you have any additional questions regarding the agency program, just keep in mind we do have a partnership page section that you can submit an inquiry, and we'll make sure to contact you, or a representative contact you right away. If you need any kind of additional information, just keep in mind we're going to go ahead and send out a recording to everyone who registered within the webinar. And that's it. If you have any kind of questions, just feel free to contact us anytime. Thank you so much and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.